So students, now we have started a new topic, that is the design of columns. And what I feel is that from past many years, regular questions have been asked from this topic. Regularly questions have been asked, right? In GATE examination. So this is an important topic, and those are very small questions. I will be telling you from which topic the GATE authorities they are focusing more on the design of columns, right? So let us start the topic of design of columns. First of all, I will give you an introduction. So let us first of all understand what a column actually is. What a column actually is. So you can say that, for example, this is a building. Okay, this is a building. This is a front view of the building. This is a plinth level, and this is a foundation. Let us say this is a foundation. Clear? This is the foundation of the building. Clear? So let us say it has two floors, right? Two floors. So people are standing here, right? People are there. People are here. People are here, right? And every floor there is live load as well, dead load also, right? Okay. So this is your slab. This is your slab. Okay, this is your slab, and on slabs you can also have beams also, right? You can also have beams, right? So you know that to transfer this load, the dead load and live load to the foundation, there should be, you can say, a medium, right? So obviously there will be some vertical members here, right? There will be some vertical members here which will directly transfer the load to the foundation. Clear? And these vertical members or these compression members, they are called as columns. It is not necessary they will be vertical always. There can be inclined members also. I will be telling you, those are known as struts actually, right? But the members which carry compressive load in it are known as the columns or the compression members. Simple. Clear? Now the column, now this is your, you can say, a layman definition which I have told you, right? Now what is the bookish definition? The bookish definition, it says that let me rub it. Now the bookish definition says that column, if the length or the effective length of any member is greater than 3 times the least lateral dimension. Least lateral dimension. Then those members are known as the columns. Those members are known as columns. Now this is important to understand this term, the least lateral dimension, because it will be used frequently in design of columns. So what least lateral dimension means? For example, you have a column. Let us say this is a column. This is a column. Okay, this is a slab, let us say, or beam, slab. Okay, this is a column. Clear? Now this is your unsupported length or the clear length. This is the L0 is the unsupported length. Unsupported length. Right? And this is the effective length from here to up to whatever portion, right? I will be explaining about the effective length, right? When I will be going to the design of columns. So this is unsupported length. Now if the length of the column is greater than 3 times the least lateral dimension, let me take a section here and see it from the top. If I draw the top view, let us say it is a rectangular. So let us say it is like this. This is your, let us say, B, and let us say this is the depth of the column D. Now let us say even in this figure, if B is smaller than D, then out of the two, B is known as the least lateral dimension. It means that if you cut a section and you look a column from the top, the least dimension is taken as the least lateral dimension. Clear? So out of B or D, if B is less than D, then B will be the least lateral dimension. If D is less than B, then D will be the least lateral dimension. Right? So I hope that you have understood that columns are those members in terms of, you can say, mathematically, in which the length of the member is, if it is greater than 3 times the least lateral dimension, those members are known as columns. Clear? Now what will happen if your L effective or length is less than 3 times the least lateral dimension, right? So let me tell you now. If okay, I hope you understand it. It's a very important topic. Now if length of that particular member is less than or equal to 3 times the least lateral dimension, I am writing it as LLD, right? Least lateral dimension, let us denote it with LLD, right? If L is less than or equal to LLD, these types of members are known as pedestals. Pedestals. These types of members are known as pedestals. So what is a pedestal? So for your kind information, a column, it directly does not transfer load to the foundation level. What it does, first of all, you must have seen there is a column. Now at the base of the column, you must have seen, you can say, a stair type of thing, right? That stair type of thing, or which is very, you can say, whose dimension are greater than that of the column, are known as pedestals. For example, in this figure, I drew, you can say, one slab was there, this was your column. Now this dimension is greater than the dimension of the column, but the length is very small. So these type of structures, they are known as pedestals. Clear? Now the column, they are actually of two types. Okay, now depending on the type, what type you are telling it, but basically what we will be designing for two types. Okay, so first of all, now let me tell you about the types of columns. Clear? Now in the types of columns, first of all, column can be, you can say, classified on the basis of slenderness ratio. Or the columns, they can be classified on the basis of their shape. Clear? Okay. The columns, they can also be classified on the basis of, okay, so I have written all the three classifications on the basis of which the columns can be classified. Okay, so the first one is slenderness ratio, second one is shape, and the third one is loading. Now on the basis of slenderness ratio, first of all, what is slenderness ratio means? So slenderness ratio in column, it is denoted by lambda. So lambda, it is actually equal to effective length divided by the least lateral dimension. Clear? If it is greater than 12, if the value of lambda is greater than 12, these types of columns are known as long columns. Clear? And if the value of lambda, it is less than 12 or less than or equal to 12, then these types of columns are known as short columns. Clear? So simple. Now coming to the shape. Now on the basis of shape of the column also, column can be classified into various types, but mainly, generally what we study is circular columns and rectangular columns. In circular columns, the stirrups, it has a helical type of stirrups. In case of your rectangle, it is just like this, or it can be like this also. Okay? We will be studying about the helical columns also. The next is the type of loading. On the basis of loading, the columns can be classified into three types. So first one is axial columns or axial loading columns. Second one is uniaxial, and third one is biaxial. So axial type of columns, let me make you understand what axial column means. So first of all, the axial columns, in which the force is acting at the center of gravity, or you can say at the center of the column. For example, let us say this is a column. Okay, this is a foundation level, this is a column. This is the center of the column. If the force is acting just on this P, these types of columns are known as the axial columns, and these types of columns, they generally fail in crushing. Clear? So they get crushed actually, right? Okay. The second one is uniaxial columns. So in uniaxial columns, obviously, this is an ideal case, but obviously certainly then there will be some cases in which the force acting, it will not be on the axis of this column, right? There can be some eccentricity also. So if the load is acting at some eccentricity, either with respect to x or with respect to y, not together all the two, These types of columns are known as the uniaxial columns. Let me give an example. Let us say this is a column, this is the foundation level, this is the center of the column. If the load is acting here, T, at an eccentricity of E, I hope you know what eccentricity is, right? At an eccentricity of E, then what will happen? Now, it is a basic of strength of materials. If such type of case is there, it can be, you can say, simplified like this. So the load P, it can be transferred to the center. In addition to, there will be a moment also which will be equal to P into E. I hope you remember. Even in steel structure also, this is the concept. Clear? So these types of columns have an eccentricity. If I take the, you can say the top view would be like this. Let us say this is the center of the column, right? If there, the load P, either it would be there or it would be there, right? Something, this eccentricity will be there. Clear? So these types of columns are known as the uniaxial columns. What about the biaxial columns? They also will have some eccentricity, but it will have eccentricity both with respect to x and y direction. So you can say that if suppose if load is acting on the biaxial column, it will be acting somewhere here, or somewhere here, or here, or here, somewhere here. So that with respect to both the x-axis and y-axis, it has certain eccentricity. So I hope that you have understood the types of columns that we will be studying. Clear? Now the next important thing is, which is usually asked in interviews, about the difference between a column and a strut. A lot of students, they confuse column and struts, and some students, they also think that column and struts are the one and the same thing. But that is not correct actually, right? So columns and struts are not the same thing. They both are different things. So what are the difference between a column and a strut? So let us understand, because this question is nowadays generally asked in interviews, right? So you must know what is the difference between a column and a strut. So first of all, let me write its column, and then let me write it as strut, right? So column first of all, it's a vertical member. It is a vertical member, right? So this is a member in which the force will be acting. It can either be here, it can either be here at an eccentricity, right? Second thing is that if there is an eccentricity, there will be some moment also. So we have to design column for the actual loading as well as for the additional moments also. So you can say that the columns, they are designed for load as well as moment, both. These are the main differences. Now coming to the struts. So struts, they are not vertical members, they are inclined members. I will explain you where are they used actually, okay? So these are not vertical members, but these are inclined members. Inclined members. The second important thing is, here we had load plus moment, but in struts, it is found that the struts are not designed for moment, they are designed for load only, right? No moment. I am writing no moment, or I am just cancelling this moment. There is no moment. So struts are not designed for moments, but struts are designed for your actual load only. Clear? Now the question is, sir, we know about columns. We have seen columns many times. Even in your homes also, you must be having some columns, right? Columns supporting structures. But as far as the struts are concerned, sir, what is the example of a strut? Whether we have seen struts or not, you must have seen struts. Even especially the students who are from the Himalayan region, for example, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, or some other, you can say J&K also. So in those areas, which are very cold areas, which have a high snowfall, so you must have seen that the uppermost, you can say, part of the house is known as attic, right? That is known as attic, the uppermost part. Why it is used? It is just used as a storage room, right? Attic is just used as a storage room. You can store your food, you can store some useless furnitures and some other stuffs, right? Okay, so attic, you must have seen, if it is a, you can say, if the attic is made of wooden, so attic is like this: one column, then there is a proper rafter, then one column, then again one column, wooden column, then one column and one column, and so on. So these types of columns are known as struts, because these are not vertical, these are inclined. And always remember that in case of your inclined column, we design them for no movement, right? They do not have any movement actually, right? So this is an example of a strut. So I hope, students, now what you have know in the introduction to design of columns, the types of columns, the slenderness ratio, right? the least lateral dimension, what is the difference between a pedestal, a column and a strut. I have told you about all these things, right? Now in the design of columns, when we are studying about design, what we will be studying is that first of all there are two theories. First theory is the, you can say, Euler's theory, and second theory is about the Rankine theory. You must have studied these theories in your strength of material also, but in case of a RCC, what we will be following? We will be following the IS 456 recommendations. IS 456 2000 recommendation which will be following, right? So there are a lot of IS 456 recommendations. So we will be designing columns. First of all, we will do the short column designing. Then the short column, just similarly, you can design the long columns also. So I have told you that the short columns, they fail on crushing, but as far as the long columns are concerned, they fail on buckling. Now what is buckling? Now for example, this is a long column, right? This is a long column. This is inside, this is on the ground. If now suppose some load is applied on it at an eccentricity, so it can buckle like this, right? It can bend like this or buckle like this. So long column, it usually fails in buckling, and a short column usually fails in crushing. Simple, right? So we'll be designing our short columns. I will also be giving you a formula for long columns. Then we will be proceeding towards the IS 456 recommendations on columns, and after that I will be also telling you about the interaction diagrams, right? That is a very shortcut method in design of columns. Interaction diagrams are not given in IS 456, but they are given in SP16, right? Standard publication 16, right? SP16, there is a particular code. You don't have to go inside the code when you will be in the jobs. If you are a structural designer, if you are a designer in any company, either it can be a PSU or a private company, then at that time you will be using SP16. But for the time being, I will be just telling you what interaction diagrams are and how it becomes very easy for us to, you can say, design the columns based on the interaction diagrams. Clear? After that, I will be also telling you about the circular columns as well as the helical column design. So let's move to the next video and further see what are the basic theories of designing of columns, right? About the Euler's elastic and IS 456 recommendation. So let's move to the next video. Thank you.